Croatia is a fascinating country, attracting its guests with plenty of sites that spread its territory in the southern part of Central Europe. There are picturesque mountains and hills, hosting the romantic castles and palaces with walls full of mysteries and stories. Some ancient cities lie on the top of spectacular hills, while others are nestled on the shore of the Adriatic Sea. Pretty cobbled streets lead to the sea, where in cozy bays, among the groups of the unique-shaped islands, white yachts are cutting the waves. The clean mountain air is filled with the scent of flowers. Summer is in full swing. A warm breeze is blowing the spires of the medieval towers. Seagulls are flapping their wings to cruise liners flying over the old lighthouses. All these things gladden the hearts of happy and kind people who are fortunate enough to live in this incredible country. But in our film, we would like to draw your attention to the gem of Croatian nature. In our opinion, it is the most attractive part of this preserved area. It's a fascinating place where crystal clear waters are brought down by the high waterfalls into the emerald bowl of lakes shining in the sun. These are two of the most popular parks, Plitvice Lakes National Park and Kirka National Park. Veliki Slap Waterfall is known to be the highest waterfall in Plitvice Lakes National Park. The name means the Great Waterfall. The river Plitvice thunders in a single drop over 78 meters into the river Korana. This is one of the most beautiful parts of the park. A series of Sastavci waterfalls dropping from the height of 26 meters create breathtaking scenery. Rich greenery covers the cliffs clinging to the bluffs. Lush trees are moistened constantly by water that provides a perfect environment for unique beech and coniferous forests. There are many types of birds, about 140 species in the park, because there is plenty of food and water for them. A joyful bird singing completes the beautiful landscape. Guests of the park have a wonderful opportunity to take a walk along the well-equipped paths while admiring the lakes and waterfalls. Before 1958, this beautiful park wasn't open to guests, and there were only glades in it. Soon it was improved and opened for tourists. The preserved area covers over 295 square kilometers, and in 1979, Plitvice Lakes National Park was included in the UNESCO World Heritage Register. People flock to the most attractive places of the park, near the waterfalls, trying to capture that unique natural phenomena. So, how were so many waterfalls formed in one place? The Plitvice Lakes are over 4,000 years old, according to scientists, but the area itself was discovered only 400 years ago. The waters of Plitvice Lakes flow through limestone-rich rocks, which formed natural travertine dams thousands of years ago. These dams, in their turn, created a number of beautiful lakes, caves, and waterfalls. Travertine deposited because of the thick saturation of moss, algae, and bacteria. The encrusted plants and bacteria accumulate on top of each other, forming travertine barriers which grow at the rate of about 1 a year. As the limestone barriers appear, waterfalls appear. What really strikes the traveler's eye at once is the fabulous colors of the water and its purity. Water enters the park from surrounding mountains. There are 16 wonderful lakes in the park, and each one features its own color: emerald, turquoise, blue, azure, light gray, and other shades of charming colors. Ingredients such as calcium carbonate from limestone rock turn the water blue-green. These minerals flow into the lake, and together with plants growing in the water, give it a green color. The lakes are divided into 12 upper lakes and 4 lower lakes, with a drop from 636 to 503 meters. The difference in height between the upper and lower lakes is 133 meters. The color of the water changes constantly depending on the weather, light, minerals, and bacteria. That is why swimming is prohibited. The ecological balance is so sensitive, and human intervention may affect it negatively. Ecologists and biologists monitor the park closely, revealing its new secrets. Not only birds have fallen in love with this destination. This region has about 70 species of mammals. Bears, wolves, foxes, lynxes, badgers, and pine martens inhabit the surrounding forests. Of course, you will not meet them among the crowds of people. About 1.2 million tourists visit this park annually. Visitors of the park can ride an ecological electric boat that transports them between the upper and lower lakes. There is a special microclimate in this area as the lakes are located at the junction of two climatic zones, marine and continental. The air temperature is 3 to 4 degrees lower than on the Adriatic coast. Precipitation is frequent. The weather is often cloudy. During the rains, the temperature varies about 15 degrees. In winter, Plitvice lakes freeze and it snows a lot. Thus, the best time to visit the park is from April to November. If you're a fan of watching the underwater world, you'll appreciate the purity and clarity of the water. Without immersion in water, you can observe the fish life, admire the swirls of refracted light in the water, see the reflection of the waves while staying dry. Weliki Prestavets is the second highest waterfall in the park, with a single drop near 28 meters. After having walked around the lakeshore, the boardwalk will lead you almost to the very foot of the waterfall. It's a wonderful place to walk with your four-legged friends. Coming out from under the shady trees, you'll immediately find yourself in the cloud of spray that covers you from head to toe. The water flows powerfully, sliding off the grass-covered edge of the cliff. You'll be amazed with the fabulous water scenery. Water is flowing everywhere. Waterfalls, pools, lakes, rivers. The sunny weather changed to cloudy, as it often happens in the park, but these spectacular lakes don't lose their charm at all. It's also a great pleasure to watch the raindrops falling gently on the water and creating plenty of circles on its surface. The colors of the wet greenery turn vivid green and shine on the light. The rain will pass quickly and give way to the sun. Golovatsky Buk is a 16-meter high waterfall situated in the heart of Upper Lakes. It's fed by waters from Milino Lake and Galovac falling down to Grodinsko Lake. It used to be much higher and wider. However, due to numerous fallen trees and debris, the waterfall is much smaller nowadays. The beauty of clear lakes, sparkling waterfalls, dense forests, and birds singing fascinate the guests of the park. Nature makes everyone happy and has a healing power. The aspiration to beauty is a person's natural desire. People are very willing to spend a lot of money, time, and effort to get to amazing destinations such as Plitvice Lakes. The real beauty of nature recharges you and helps lift your spirits. In our materialistic age, when our mind is clogged with worries and experiences coping with everyday problems, such pristine and remote places help rid you of this baggage. Enjoying this beautiful landscape, exploring the nature, a person intentionally thinks about the source of his creation. We are striving for beauty in all of its manifestations because we are seeking the Creator everywhere without realizing it. All this nature's beauty comes from Him. Perhaps for this reason, people want to find themselves in such places full of life force. In this sense, beauty may really save the world. Every year, more and more people visit Plitvice Lakes. We wish them the conservation and enhancement of their natural resources. And now, let's move to another Croatian park, Krka National Park. This is one of the best national parks in Croatia, probably because it is the second most beautiful place after the Plitvice Lakes. It was so named after the Krka River, which flows through the park. These boardwalks will lead tourists through the dense forests to one of the most popular waterfalls of Krka Park, Skradinski Buk. The color of the water in the river is already different from the color in the Plitvice Lakes, but a special warm, secluded atmosphere is created in the rays of the setting sun, since the majority of tourists have already left the park, leaving the nature alone. The Skrodinsky Buk waterfall is one of the most attractive parts of this park. There is a massive, clean, natural pool with high waterfalls on one side and cascades on the other. Rich flora and fauna are around the waterfall, which is why the Skrodinsky Buk is considered one of the most beautiful waterfalls in all of Europe. The flow of the Skrodinsky Buk is 43 cubic meters per second. In winter, it's about 18 cubic meters, and in summer it reaches 55 cubic meters per second. The Kirka waterfalls are the largest cascade system in Europe. Tourists are allowed to swim in natural swimming pools formed by waterfalls. That is why Kirka Park is so popular among tourists, because only here you have a chance to take a unique picture in the water at the very foot of the waterfall. Upstream, the Kirka River runs along the bottom of the canyon and forms the Roshki Slap waterfall. Before the waterfall, the river passes through low, tough rapids called Orgliza, which means necklace. The length of this barrier is half a kilometer. In the 60s, this place served as the setting for a series of movies about North American Indians, namely the famous Apache Winnetou. The landscape feels like the American Wild West of the 19th century. When the Kirka River flows into Vysovats Lake, its waters round a small island on which the Franciscan monastery Vysovats was built in the 14th century. It represents the exceptional value of the cultural heritage of Croatia. Oval in its geometry, Vysovats Island is very small, only 170 by 120 meters. Its area is slightly more than 17,000 square meters, and the coastline stretches for almost 480 meters. From a bird's eye view, a triangular shelf is clearly visible from the southeast side of Vysovats in the clear waters of the Kirka. Another impressive set of waterfalls is the Manolovotsky Slapovi, a set of waterfalls with a total height of 59.6 meters and a main waterfall of 32 meters. It's extremely beautiful to look at this remote waterfall from a bird's eye view. You can't reach it on foot, so you can enjoy its beauty from only one viewpoint that is far enough from the waterfall. The clouds shape amazing forms over the mountains of Velebit in the territory of the Paklenica National Park. It's famous for its majestic canyons, Velika Paklenica and Mala Paklenica, which of course means big and small canyons, deep set in the depths of this giant mountain. The 400-meter vertical flanks of the canyon Velika Paklenicas are located at the very entrance to the park, very close to the sea that makes the Paklenicas National Park one of the most popular and attractive places for mountain climbing in Europe. There are lots of hiking trails for rock climbers of all skill levels. The weather here changes a lot. There are 3 different climatic zones in this small area: coastal, continental, and subalpine climates. On a clear day, clouds may appear suddenly and cover the slopes with heavy showers, and then after a while, the sun is out again, drying the moisture, which often creates great conditions for seeing rainbows. Mountain goats deftly balance on small, rocky ledges on the edge of a precipice. There are a lot of them in the park. Since the Velebit Mountains are one of the most remote biological reserves of Europe, local animals feel safe here. You'll find such animals as roe deer, red deer, foxes, bears, wolves, and lynxes. There are about 70 caves in the mountains of this national park. The most popular cave is Moneta Pitch Cave. Its depth is about 500 meters, but only 17 meters are open for tourists. It's a solutional cave, which is why there are lots of icicle-shaped formations hanging from the ceiling. These are stalactites. Penetrating into the cave from the surface, the water passes through the layers of the soil and dissolves limestone. Under certain conditions, calcium carbonate fills are formed. Stalactites grow. This process occurs very slowly. The characteristic time is tens, maybe hundreds of years. The length of stalactites in the cave can reach 20 meters. With a sufficient amount of calcium carbonate in the solution, a counter formation named stalagmite grows on the cave floor in the case of droplets falling from the end of a stalactite. With the passing of time, stalactite and stalagmites join and form a column that is called a stalagnet. The cave is equipped with metal steps and railings as well as lighting. People with a rich imagination can easily see fantastic silhouettes of animals and even people in amazing forms of fills. Croatia is very rich in caves. The number of caves explored by humans is about 12,000, and there are lots of undiscovered caves as well. Many caves don't have an exit. They can only be discovered during repairs or landslides. They are inhabited by crayfish, leeches, sponges, and a special type of amphibian that's called the human fish. They don't have eyes, and the pigment on their skin is like humans. In ancient time, they were thought to be dragon larvae. In some caves, there were found the remains of the cave bear. Many caves have their own lakes and even rivers. These shots were taken in some of the most popular caves of the country. So, summarizing what you've seen and heard, Croatia is an amazing country with a beautiful coast, clear sea, ancient cities and castles, amazing lakes and waterfalls, mountains and caves. We have only shown you one side of this beautiful diamond, located in the southern part of Europe. But only for this, it deserves our admiration and love.